Since the dawn of civilization, humankind has been preoccupied with the question of its own demise. Across millennia, cultures isolated by geography and time arrived at remarkably similar conclusions, that life on Earth is governed by cycles of creation and destruction, and that one day everything must end. This shared anxiety gave rise to a staggering range of apocalyptic beliefs, mythologies, and celestial interpretations. In Mesoamerica, the Mayans didn't believe in a singular apocalypse, but rather in world ages, cycles of time that end and begin again through fire, water, or cosmic upheaval. Their long count calendar, famously misunderstood in 2012, didn't simply mark time. It foretold eras shaped by planetary alignments and galactic events, possibly hinting at knowledge far ahead of their age. Meanwhile, in Scandinavia, the Norse believed in Ragnarok, a prophetic series of events including earthquakes, the sky cracking open, and battles among gods, leading to the world's fiery destruction and rebirth. Ancient Egyptians, who were master astronomers, aligned temples and tombs with stars like Sirius and Orion's belt. They believed death was not an end, but a gateway, and that when cosmic balance or Ma'at was broken, the world would fall into chaos. Early Christian eschatology in the Book of Revelation predicted 7 trumpets, stars falling from heaven, plagues and beasts rising from the sea, a deeply celestial symbolic narrative with eerie echoes of meteor storms, eclipses, and natural disasters. These civilizations all looked upward for signs, reading the stars not just for navigation, but for warnings. Lunar and solar eclipses were feared as divine omens. Meteors were seen as heavenly arrows. Comets were harbingers of kings' deaths. The repetition of these themes across disconnected societies raises a chilling question. Why was this obsession with the end so universal? And what exactly were they seeing in the sky that convinced them it was coming? In the vast fertile lands between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, what we now call Iraq, lay the cradle of civilization, Mesopotamia. Here, over 5,000 years ago, the Sumerians invented writing and began recording some of the most mysterious and advanced stories known to ancient humanity. But these weren't just tales of crops and kings. They spoke of the Anunnaki, beings who descended from the sky, taught them science and mathematics, and ruled the earth as gods. According to Sumerian tablets, these Anunnaki came from a planet called Nibiru, which allegedly passes through our solar system on a long elliptical orbit. Ancient astronaut theorists argue that these beings were not gods in the traditional sense, but physical entities, perhaps extraterrestrials, with advanced technology mistaken by early humans as divine. The texts describe flying machines, sophisticated knowledge of planetary systems, and even artificial insemination or genetic manipulation, particularly in the Epic of Gilgamesh and the Atrahasis myth. These stories eerily parallel the concept of alien experimentation or hybridization, common in modern UFO lore. But perhaps most alarming are the texts that speak of global floods and divine retribution from the heavens. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, the god Enlil is angered by human noise and overpopulation, so he sends a massive flood to wipe them out, preserved only by the mortal Utnapishtim, who builds an ark. This isn't just myth. It's nearly identical to the biblical story of Noah, written over 1,000 years later. Some scholars believe these flood stories reflect real cataclysms, sudden environmental shifts, or even impacts from celestial objects. But others ask, were these events natural or induced? Were they punishments or warnings? The sheer volume of sky god references, along with advanced astronomical information, suggests the Sumerians may not have invented these tales, but inherited them. Could it be that the Anunnaki, whether symbolic gods or real alien beings, left behind encoded messages? Warnings of future cycles, destruction from above, or a return date aligned with planetary motion? And if so, are we approaching that same celestial window again? Ancient Egypt has long fascinated scholars and spiritual seekers alike, not only for its grandeur, but for the secrets it may still conceal beneath its sands. The pyramids, temples, and tombs are not just architectural marvels. Many believe they encode knowledge far beyond the scope of a Bronze Age civilization. Among the most provocative theories is that these structures served as portals or stargates, gateways for beings from another realm or another world. Mainstream historians attribute the Great Pyramid's precision to religious or symbolic motivations. But some researchers point out strange mathematical alignments, like the fact that the pyramid's dimensions encode the speed of light or the Earth's polar circumference. It sits at the geographic center of the landmass of the Earth and is aligned perfectly with the cardinal directions. Could these markers have been designed for navigation or even communication with advanced interstellar travelers? Egyptian funerary texts like the Book of the Dead and Amduat speak of a perilous journey through the Duat, the underworld, but not in the Christian sense of hell. The Duat was a cosmic dimension filled with gates, stars, and celestial beings. The soul of the pharaoh was guided by star maps, protected by alien-like deities with elongated skulls and glowing auras. Some fringe theorists suggest that this journey was not metaphorical, but literal, the process of transferring consciousness, or physical form, through a stargate. Add to this the ancient depictions of gods arriving in boats that descended from the heavens and the prevalence of disc-shaped objects in temple carvings, such as those at Abydos, and a startling picture emerges. Egypt may not just have been a seat of earthly power, but a carefully constructed alien outpost. The pyramids, rather than tombs, could have been part of a larger energy grid, used for levitation, communication, or even interstellar transport. What's chilling is how many Egyptian texts also warn of a return, of chaos emerging when the stars realign, when the balance of Ma'at is broken, and when the Duat opens once more. If Egypt's gods were in fact extraterrestrials, did they leave through those gates? And more importantly, are they coming back? History is often taught as a linear march of progress, but the archaeological record paints a different picture, a pattern of rise and sudden collapse, as if something unseen interferes just when humanity reaches a certain point. The fall of the Indus Valley Civilization, the sudden end of the Old Kingdom of Egypt, the mysterious collapse of the Bronze Age, all occurred not over centuries, but in terrifyingly short spans. Whole cities were abandoned, advanced knowledge was lost. Trade networks vanished. Why? One common thread runs through these collapses. They were triggered by a combination of extreme weather events, unexplained migrations, and devastating warfare. Yet some scholars argue these were symptoms, not causes. What if the real force behind these collapses was cosmic? What if these were scheduled resets, events predicted or even induced by non-human intelligence? In the 12th century BCE, nearly every major power in the Near East, Mycenae, Hatti, Ugarit, Egypt, fell like dominoes. Records from this period mention sea peoples, famine, fire from the sky, and gods abandoning their temples. In South America, the sudden fall of the Olmec, followed by the abrupt disappearance of the Nazca culture, mirrored similar patterns. Earthquakes, plagues, and strange astronomical activity were frequently recorded. Ancient alien theorists suggest that when humanity reached certain thresholds, like mastering metallurgy, constructing megaliths, or experimenting with unknown energies, it triggered attention from beings who saw us either as a threat or as an experiment reaching its limit. Some believe these collapses were interventions, purposeful resets that ensured no civilization gained too much control over technologies it couldn't understand. Could this also explain the sudden silences in the archaeological record? Gaps where entire societies vanish without trace. Could our own modern world, with its environmental instability, AI development, and increasing space activity, be reaching a similar threshold? The past may not be warning us metaphorically, it may be showing us a cyclical reality. When human advancement reaches a critical mass, something steps in. Whether natural or engineered, the fall always follows the rise. And if we are next in that sequence, who, or what, is watching? The ancient Maya of Mesoamerica were master astronomers, engineers, and timekeepers. Among their greatest achievements was the long count calendar, a stunningly complex system that tracked cosmic time in cycles lasting thousands of years. While most of the modern world misinterpreted the calendar's 2012 end date as a doomsday prophecy, the truth is far more intricate and possibly more chilling. To the Maya, time was not linear, but cyclical. Their long count began on August 11th, 14 BCE, and ended on December 21, 2012 CE, not as an end of the world, but as the close of a great era. What's astonishing is the level of celestial knowledge encoded into this timeline. The Maya accurately predicted solar eclipses, planetary conjunctions, and even the 26,000-year precession of the equinoxes, a cosmic cycle usually attributed to modern astronomy. This precession is linked to a rare galactic alignment, a phenomenon where the Earth, the Sun, and the dark rift at the center of the Milky Way align. The last occurrence of this alignment was, you guessed it, 2012. To the Maya, this moment symbolized a portal between worlds, a time of great transformation, destruction, or rebirth. But how did they know? How could a society with no telescopes or modern instruments map galactic centers and star cycles measured in tens of millennia? Ancient alien theorists propose that this information wasn't discovered, but inherited, passed down by sky beings, the Maya often referenced in their codices. Deities like Kukulkan, a feathered serpent god who descended from the sky, were believed to bring wisdom and knowledge. Could Kukulkan have been an extraterrestrial figure, encoded into myth? Even more unnerving is the Mayan depiction of what happens after these cosmic cycles end. Their stories speak of earthquakes, floods, societal collapse, and a new sun rising after the old one disappears. Was 2012 simply the beginning of the end, not a moment, but a transition period? And are we now living in that unraveling, guided by a galactic schedule we barely understand? Long before European contact, indigenous cultures across the globe told stories of sky beings, cosmic battles, and catastrophic earth changes. Oral histories that have endured for thousands of years. Often dismissed as myth, these stories may actually preserve ancient memories of alien encounters and planetary warnings. Among the most striking are the Hopi prophecies from the American Southwest. The Hopi, one of the oldest Native American tribes, speak of the four worlds, ages of humanity. According to their teachings, we currently live in the fourth world, a time of spiritual imbalance, disconnection from nature, and technological arrogance. The previous three worlds, they claim, ended in fire, ice, and floods, events that mirror geological disasters recorded worldwide. The end of the fourth world, they say, will be marked by the arrival of the blue Kachina, a celestial figure who will remove his mask and bring about the purification of Earth. To the Hopi, the Kachinas are not metaphorical. They are real sky beings, described with glowing garments, helmets, and aerial abilities. Rock carvings in the Arizona desert depict humanoid figures descending from the stars, with halos and beam-like projections, eerily similar to modern descriptions of aliens or astronauts. In Australia, Aboriginal people have similar stories. The Wandjina, ancestral spirits who descended from the Milky Way, are often painted with large eyes, no mouths, and glowing white faces, paintings that date back tens of thousands of years. These beings brought law, order, and survival tools, then returned to the sky, promising to come back if the Earth fell out of balance. What's consistent across both traditions is the idea that Earth changes follow human moral decay, that when we forget the natural laws and misuse the gifts we've been given, the sky beings intervene or reset the cycle. Whether through direct interference or cosmic disaster, the stories hint at a hidden intelligence watching and waiting. Are these tales myth, or a distant cultural memory of intervention events? And if so, are we nearing the point, like past civilizations, where the watchers in the sky decide to act once again? Throughout history, there are moments where humanity seems to leap forward, only for those advances to vanish mysteriously, swallowed by time, war, or disaster. But what if some of those innovations weren't purely human? What if we inherited or reverse-engineered knowledge from non-human visitors and lost it in the chaos of global resets? Consider the Antikythera mechanism, discovered in a Roman shipwreck. This 2,000-year-old device, built with gears so precise they rival 18th-century clocks, could predict eclipses and track planetary movements. Mainstream historians still struggle to explain how such advanced technology emerged so early and then disappeared entirely for over a millennium. Was it a relic of forgotten human genius, or a tool passed down from a more advanced intelligence? The Baghdad battery, another mysterious artifact, appears to be an ancient power source, millennia before electricity was officially discovered. In Egypt, carvings from the Dendera temple show figures holding what resemble light bulbs connected by wires, with accompanying depictions of something like electrical generators. These aren't isolated cases. Across cultures, from the Inca to the Greeks, we find evidence of sophisticated tools, machines, and knowledge that shouldn't have existed at their time. The pattern is clear. Just as these breakthroughs appear, civilizations collapse. Could these sudden technological blooms be linked to alien influence? And were those civilizations destroyed precisely because they misused or misunderstood the tools they were given? Some theorists argue that ancient aliens may have offered knowledge, with limits, only to intervene when those limits were crossed. The story of Atlantis, as told by Plato, speaks of a highly advanced society punished for its arrogance and hubris. Did they overreach much like we are doing today with AI, nuclear power, and genetic manipulation? This pattern, rapid rise, unexplained technology, sudden fall, isn't just historical. It's a warning, a message encoded in the ruins and relics of lost civilizations. Advance carefully or be reset. While alien abductions are considered a modern phenomenon, history is rich with accounts of people being taken, transported, or elevated by mysterious beings from the sky. The only difference is language. What we now describe as extraterrestrial encounters were once called divine visions, chariot rides to the heavens, or ascensions guided by angels. But the underlying details are shockingly consistent across cultures and time. In the book of Ezekiel, the Hebrew prophet describes a craft like a wheel within a wheel, descending from the sky, surrounded by flames and beings with 4 faces and glowing skin. It's one of the most detailed ancient descriptions of a flying craft, complete with moving parts and non-human operators. Modern readers easily interpret this as a UFO encounter, not a vision. Even more compelling is the Book of Enoch, an ancient Jewish text excluded from most modern Bibles. Enoch is taken by celestial beings to a place beyond the earth, shown visions of the stars and heavens, and taught secrets of the universe. The beings are described with radiant appearances and immense power. These stories, filled with cosmic travel, hidden knowledge, and hybrid offspring, mirror contemporary reports of alien abduction and genetic experimentation. In ancient India, the Vimanas, flying palaces used by the gods, are described in Vedic texts like the Mahabharata and Ramayana. These ships could fly, emit deadly beams, and vanish into the sky. Some scholars believe these tales describe advanced aerial battles and technology that defy conventional understanding of the time. So what were these events? Spiritual experiences, hallucinations, or literal contact with otherworldly beings? Some theorists argue that these accounts show a long-term relationship between humans and advanced entities, possibly even one of experimentation or surveillance. The common theme: humans are chosen, taken, taught, or tested, often without full understanding of why. What if the abductors aren't new visitors, but old watchers returning to check on their creation? And what if their presence escalates when humanity approaches a turning point? These ancient abductions might not be isolated miracles or myths, but early chapters in a long and ongoing story, one that may be heading toward its climax. Throughout history, those in power have often controlled not only what people believe, but what they are allowed to remember. Among the most secretive and powerful institutions in the world is the Vatican, the spiritual heart of the Roman Catholic Church. While known for its religious authority, it also guards one of the largest and most inaccessible libraries on Earth, the Vatican Secret Archives. Spanning over 50 miles of shelves, these archives contain ancient manuscripts, forbidden texts, and correspondence dating back over 1,000 years. Rumors persist that hidden among these documents are apocalyptic warnings, records of ancient alien contact, and knowledge of humanity's true origins, information deemed too dangerous or destabilizing to be made public. Many ancient texts, like the Book of Enoch or the Gospel of Judas, were deliberately excluded from the official biblical canon. Why? Because they contain radical notions of beings from the sky, realms beyond Earth, and celestial intervention in human affairs. Some believe the Church suppressed these texts not out of heresy, but because they contained truths too terrifying for the faithful, that our gods may have been advanced beings, not divine in the spiritual sense, but powerful in the technological one. The Vatican is not alone in this secrecy. Across the globe, governments and intelligence agencies have redacted documents, classified sightings, and silenced whistleblowers. From Project Blue Book to the Majestic 12, evidence of government awareness and even contact with extraterrestrials continues to surface, only to be swiftly dismissed or buried. But why the cover-up? Perhaps the truth threatens the very foundation of global control: religion, economy, and power structures built on human exceptionalism. If the public learned that we are not alone, that ancient beings may return, or that apocalyptic cycles are real and predictable, mass panic or rebellion might follow. As whispers grow louder about elite knowledge of global shifts, underground, cities, and secret preparations, one question looms. Are those in power protecting us from chaos, or protecting themselves from accountability? And if ancient aliens once warned humanity, who is filtering those messages now? We like to believe we are the most advanced humans to ever live. But what if we are simply repeating the final chapter of a story written long ago? As war drums beat louder, AI becomes self-aware, climate systems unravel, and the world teeters on the edge of irreversible change, a terrifying possibility emerges. The ancient prophecies weren't metaphor, they were warnings. Today we face a convergence of crises. Rising sea levels echo the flood myths. Wildfires rage with unprecedented fury, fulfilling prophecies of fire from the sky. Disease spreads faster than ever, just as foretold in sacred and forbidden texts. Satellites track strange aerial phenomena defying physics. And private space programs race to escape Earth, just as civilizations before us might have tried and failed. The pattern is undeniable. Technological arrogance, spiritual decay, and environmental collapse precede the fall. We've seen it in the Maya, the Sumerians, the Indus Valley, and the forgotten builders of megaliths we still don't understand. And now, all signs suggest it is happening again. But here's the twist. Unlike ancient peoples, we have the means to detect, analyze, and possibly prevent catastrophe. Yet those warnings remain ignored, mocked, or buried, just as they were in the past. The countdown isn't measured in years, but in choices. Will we continue down this self-destructive path, or finally recognize the signals encoded in the past? If ancient aliens came once, perhaps they left us a timer, woven into architecture, scripture, and astronomy. Maybe 2012 wasn't the end, but the beginning of the last age. One last window before the gate closes. One final test. Are we being watched, judged, or simply left to destroy ourselves? Because if the end truly is closer than we thought, it won't come as a surprise. It will come as a return.